Hi, I'm Logan T. Smith, and welcome to my spoiler chat for A Quiet Place Part 2. As I said in my review, I did like this one a little more than the first, sort of just because there's more going on in the story. I really did like the first one quite a lot, and I thought that they did a good job of it. I think the story here is just a little more interesting to me. The interpersonal relationship stuff, although it does contribute, that's just not really my bag. So this one, it doesn't, as far as the overall score is concerned, this one I think is 8 points higher out of 100. So it does just come as an 8 instead of a 7. So that's basically to be expected. I really like this one. And I think that's just that I'm more interested in adventure stuff than character dramas, generally. So, there are a few inconsistencies that I thought were kind of weird. One is that we see the, whatever they call these things, the aliens, when they're a lot more in chases. And there's one particular chase where the family is running away and they're in sort of this warehouse. And as they're running, things are being knocked around and bounced all over the place. And I'm not sure that it's ever been made clear how the monsters can distinguish between the sounds of the things bouncing around compared to where the people are. And they seem to do a pretty good job of chasing just the people. Whereas in the first one, they seem to be fairly easily distracted by other noises. So I thought that was a little bit weak there. The other thing is that the kid gets his foot caught in a bear trap, and then he's able to walk on it like the next day or something, and climb the ladder and stuff and not be screeching in pain as he does it. I don't know. And then I think the mom got hurt somehow too, and she was healed really quick. They were able to overcome their injuries for the most part very fast, I thought. Faster than they should be able to. Or this movie's just taking a lot more time than I think it is. That there's a lot more time that it seems like this whole movie takes place in a matter of like 3 days. And I think he even says how long it took them to walk, and I think he said 2 days. So anyways, if the whole movie does take place in 3 days, they just heal too fast for what's going on. The thing that bothered me the most, I think, is, so Marcus is the boy. When he's left with the baby to try to make sure the baby stays alive while the mom goes to go find more oxygen, and he decides to leave. Why? So why did he decide to leave? Because he didn't want to hang out all by himself. Well, then he's going to leave a baby all alone with nobody around to protect it or move it or anything in this little box that, even though, I mean, it does suppress the sound of the child, it's not going to be completely insulating from noise. Plus, he has to climb a ladder and he's got a badly injured leg. Like, that decision is one of the worst decisions and least justified decisions that's out there in movies. Like, I know, there's a lot of bad decisions in movies. This one makes absolutely no sense. This guy should hardly be able to even walk, okay? Yeah, it didn't chop through his leg all the way, but those things will cause a lot of bruising, bleeding, and probably broken bones. But if he didn't have broken bones, he would have a severely injured leg still. So, yeah. The other question I had, though, was with the bear trap, is why was it there? Like, who is this guy trying to catch? Because it doesn't seem like that's likely to catch one of the monsters. And if it does, then the monster's going to scream and stuff and then bring more, right? So, I don't know. Was he thinking he'd catch in the bear trap and then try to shoot it? I think we've seen that the monsters are strong enough that if it did get caught in a bear trap, whatever chain that it's anchored to, they would be able to break it. So I don't think that makes any sense at all that he'd have a bear trap. Because if you catch any animal in it, it's going to make noise, and then it's going to attract the aliens. So you're not going to use that for hunting, because the aliens will come and get the thing before you can get it. And So is it just there to catch humans? But even if it is just there to catch humans, you're still going to have the aliens come, and then they're there. But maybe you figure you hear someone scream, you just run and hide. But I don't know. It seemed like a bad choice to me. So Marcus makes that terrible decision, ends up causing all of the problems that the stay-at-home subplot has because of a terrible decision, right? And then he goes and he discovers the body of the other guy's wife, kind of mummified or whatever. So what? I mean, I think there was enough allusions to that being there that you didn't need to actually see it. And it didn't amount to anything, right? That doesn't make the other guy suddenly a bad guy. It doesn't make him a good guy. It doesn't make him more trustworthy. It doesn't make him less trustworthy. It just makes him someone who didn't want his wife to die and then didn't want to bury her, right? I mean, it's kind of weird, but the world is pretty screwed up at this point. So I don't think it's that big a deal. I think they did a good job with doing the flashbacks. I thought they did a good job of the flashbacks, and that they kind of got the flashbacks over with at the beginning and didn't keep flashing back all through the whole movie. Because I think that would have been sort of disjointed for a sequel to keep flashing back to something that happened before the first movie. Maybe not. Maybe they could have done it fine. I just think it would have been a little bit weird. So I particularly liked when the meteor was coming down, the way the surrounds worked in that. That sounded excellent. I was like, oh yeah, you got their system turned on. That's some real serious noise there. And then the other thing was well, here's one little thing. There's still water pressure in their water lines. Like, how is that happening? But the other thing is, the aliens can't swim. Okay. So if the aliens can't swim, why in the first movie, when the alien went in the flooded basement, did it go all the way under the water? How many animals in the world that can't swim submerge themselves underwater, even shallow water, right, are willing to go all the way in the water? See, I just don't think that would happen, right? I don't think an alien or any type of animal that can't swim would willingly go in the water and entirely submerge themselves in it. It is not a decision that makes sense. And so I think that was a contrived thing for the sequel that wasn't an original idea in the first movie. I think that they added that in the second movie to make it so that they could have a safe place to go to. Which, I mean, I understand wanting to have a place that you could go to that would be safe. But it really breaks the mythology of the monster, if that makes sense. Like, it just doesn't make any sense at all that an animal would submerge itself underwater willingly while not being able to swim, because it doesn't know what's going to be underneath there. And with the way that sound works, with its head above the surface of the water, it would have a very difficult time hearing anything underneath. Now, they must use sound to determine the terrain somehow, so that would be compromised for them walking in the water. If the water acts as a muffler on the sound, for example, they wouldn't be able to tell once the water reaches any significant depth, they wouldn't be able to tell where the bottom is. And so even though it's in the basement of a house, and we, the humans watching, know that it's a basement of a house, and so it's going to have a floor all the way across, the alien probably doesn't know that, right? So it wouldn't know that there's no giant pit in the bottom of this basement that it's walking into. So it sort of makes it so one of the most tension-filled scenes in the first movie works in opposition to one of the major plot points in the second movie. So maybe you're not supposed to think about it that much, but that does. As soon as I saw that the monster couldn't swim, I was like, "What? No, they can swim. We saw them go in the water." So it doesn't make a lot of sense to me. Yeah. So those are my main nitpicks on it. Otherwise, I thought it was pretty good. The adventure was good. Sometimes we didn't really know what the motivations were. So the girl goes out and she goes to the train. So we know that she has left the family. She has talked about leaving the family to go try to find the island to get to the radio station. But why did she go in the train? Right? We see that she's going for a first aid kit. But when she goes in the train, there's no indication to us that she's trying to get the first aid kit. And then when I saw that she was trying to get the first aid kit, suddenly my thought was, oh, well, she's getting the first aid kit to be able to return it to her family in hopes that there's antibiotics or disinfectants or something in there to help her brother. But that wasn't the case, right? So why is she going in there for a first aid kit that she doesn't apparently need? And she's risking going in there that she wouldn't be able to find or wouldn't be able to see the monsters because she's deaf. Once she's in there, her visibility is limited, so she won't be able to see the monsters. It seemed like a terrible decision with confused motives that I just didn't understand when she went in the train what she was trying to get, and then once she got it, I didn't understand why she got it and then continued on her journey rather than returning to the family. See, that was just my thinking is she should go around this train because you could easily walk around it. She appeared to have the things that she needed already. So I think there was a little bit of miscommunication there to us. With her being by herself, it is difficult for her to communicate to us in the way that the movie is made, that she's looking for something in particular. But she was looking for something in particular. So I don't know. It just made for some confusing moments, I guess. Not a huge deal, because as soon as you see that she's going to carry on the journey, then she just carries on, and it's not a huge deal. But it does call into question the communication of motives. So, I did like the idea of the boat people that were luring others with the child to try to trap them. I think that would happen. On the flip side, why do the boat people not actually go and live on the boats, right? And even if you didn't know the monsters couldn't swim, it makes sense to keep your boat away from shore anyways, because the monsters appeared to be on land mostly, and even if you're concerned about other people, it's better to have the boat away from the shore. So live on boats off the docks, anchored 30 meters out or something, just close to shore if you need to get there, but not on the shore. And then when you want to lure somebody, you have a few people stationed by the docks, and everyone else still lives on the boats away from shore. And then you're on a boat, and when you need to go to the shore, you just go back to the shore, and then you bring the boat out. So I liked that scene, but again, it's one of those ones where you start thinking about it, and it doesn't make a lot of world-building sense. I'm also not sure that I liked the portrayal of those people, that everyone else seems to be mostly fairly clean and civilized still, and then these people were portrayed sort of as like barbarian-type people. Which I suppose could happen, but I don't think it's very likely that you'd have this non-communicative sort of caveman-like group succeed in the way that they have. But maybe it would. it just seemed odd to me that they would make these people dirty. But I guess that makes it obvious that they're bad, once you start seeing other people. But I don't know. It just seemed a little bit too... I'm not sure the word. It felt forced. It felt forced. Making those people be dirty felt forced to me. I guess I have a lot of complaints about this movie when you start thinking about it. But overall, I did like it. I did like the adventure. I did like the action and the elements. And I quite like it. And I'll probably watch it again. It may become sort of an October-type tradition to watch a Quiet Place or two. Maybe not every year, but I bet it'll come up again and again over time. So, anyways, thanks for watching. Thanks for supporting me. And I hope you enjoyed it. Thanks.